Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular meeting. I will now call the meeting to order. The agenda is there before you. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Buckle, seconded by Councillor King. Further discussion? All those in favour? Motion is carried. Okay, minutes of the meeting from March the 7th. Are there any errors or omissions? All good? Okay. Any business arising? All right, no business arising. So with that, we will move on to the mayor's point. A couple of items here. One is recognizing Volunteer Week, and the theme is Volunteering Weaves Us Together. The week of April 16th to the 22nd is Volunteer Week, with the fitting slogan, Volunteering Weaves Us Together. This week is a time to recognize the invaluable contribution made to this community by our many faithful volunteers. The town of Holyrood is very lucky to have such a supportive group of volunteers who unselfishly contribute their time and their talents to making this a great town. In the words of former American President Bill Clinton, volunteering is an act of heroism on a grand scale, and it matters profoundly. It does more than help people beat the odds, it changes the odds. Holyrood sees many successful events across all our community: recreation, seniors events, sports, school, community cleanup, as well as our local groups and organizations. We have so much because we have so many of you who believe in reaching out to give freely. The town of Holyrood recognizes all volunteers as being an essential part of every aspect of our society. The town expresses a sincere thank you to each and every person who offers his or her time freely for the common good of the community. In recognition of your service, myself as mayor and council invite all volunteers in the community to a breakfast at the annual Volunteer Toast and Tea Saturday on April 29th from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. at the Star of the Sea. So to all volunteers, please come out and join us. And on another note regarding the Heritage Committee, this time Council would like to recognize the Holyrood Heritage Society for the great effort they put forth as a volunteer group in the community. The lights burn late and they burn often at the Holyrood Heritage Building as the group work tirelessly to ensure our heritage is showcased in a professional and unforgettable manner. Chairperson Linda Fraser and her husband Stuart are volunteering their time beyond imaginable hours and take pride in the results of their labor. They have a great group of steadfast volunteers who surround and support them, and together they not only identify and protect the artifacts and history in their possession, but they create an atmosphere of intrigue, honor, and respect that meets you at the door when you visit the building. Congratulations to Linda and her group of volunteers, and I encourage residents to make it a priority this summer to visit the Holyrood Heritage and Museum and experience what has been carefully and patiently crafted there. So here to our Heritage Committee. And that is the mayor's update. So, no correspondence, and now we'll move on to Planning and Development. Deputy Mayor.
Good evening, everybody. The Planning and Development Committee, we met on March 29th. There were no new applications received since our last public meeting, but updates were provided on several outstanding files, and we have one application that has been recommended for motion this evening. Since our last public meeting as well, the committee has met to discuss the town plan. And items, we met twice actually. Items reviewed included new residential zones, merging zones RLD 1 and 2, and permitted and discretionary uses for the town centre. We meet again tomorrow evening and we're going to discuss commercial, industrial, general zones and quarries. And that's it for planning and development. And we do have a couple of motions there, but I'll ask my co-chair. Steve, is there anything that you want to add from that?
That's good.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So the first is our permit listing. Be it resolved to table and approved the attached permit listing. There were only 2 permits that were issued from March the 6th to March the 30th and include permits for general repairs and occupancy. So moved.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor Windsor. Further discussion? If not, all those in favour, those against, motion is carried.
The second is in a 2-part form because of the variance. The location is 24 Harbourview Drive. It's a variance request for a residential medium density zone. Be it resolved to approve a variance of 10% with a reduced rear yard measurement of 10.8 metres, subject to the Town of Holyrood development regulations. Just to note that this variance notice was sent to homeowners in the area as per section 12 of the development regulations, and no comments were received. So moved.
Okay, moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Sadie King. Further discussion? And I will say that we are permitted under the Municipalities Act to go as high as 10% in issuing a variance. And staff, I think, physically go door to door and they drop off notices to all the area residents. So
With this one in
haven't heard
particular, it was over the variance request the first time it was submitted. And we went back as a committee to the applicant and they revised their plan to
Okay.
fit within the 10%
within the
variance.
10%. Okay.
Yeah.
Any further questions, comments? If not, all those in favor, motion is carried.
And the second part is the actual approval for the building of the residence. Location is 24 Harbourview Drive. It's residential medium density zone. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations. So moved.
Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Buckle. Further discussion? If not, all those in favour, those against, motion is carried.
And that's it for planning and development.
Okay, thank you very much, folks. And now we'll move on to recreation and community events. And we have Councillor Buckle and Councillor Sadie King.
The Recreation Committee met on March 14th. In attendance were Director Steve Martin, Councillor Buckle, Gary, CAO Gary Corbett, and myself. At that time, we talked a lot about the Squid Fest, and the lineup is announced now as well. So we have Shannigannock, the Ennis Sisters, Celtic Connection, Nick Earl and the Restless Hearts, and Rock Revival. The Squid Fest will begin on June the 12th and will end on June the 15th, or June the 17th, I think it is, with the beach party, and on July the 16th, with the beach party on July the 15th. And if you want to get your tickets for the beach party, they go on sale on April the 17th at a cost of $25. That's the early bird tickets. After that, it will cost $30 for the tickets once they're all sold. You can purchase them online at Squidfest, www.squidfest.ca. And it should be an interesting night and an interesting week and a half. Thank you.
Well, there's no question with the lineup, guaranteed crowds. I read a few posts on Facebook today, and anyway, they can't wait to get their tickets. That's right. And again, it's one of those events that we want to keep our fingers and toes crossed that we'll have good weather, warm weather. Councillor Buckle.
Thank you, Councillor King. Just another couple of points, and the Squid Fest is one of our big events here for our town for the summer. So hopefully we'll get hopefully the weather will be on our side, and a lot of people make their holidays around the Squid Fest and come home with their families. Anyone come home for a summer holiday, so hopefully the weather will be good. It's a good lineup, and it's always a good turnout, and hopefully this year will be no different. The Easter camp, our Easter camp for the children during Easter week is sold out at 54 children, which we're very pleased with. I mean, that's a good turnout, 54 kids. And there's 6 students that we have hired to help with the Easter camp, and that's Andrew Lewis, Connor Lewis, Kaylee Mercer, Zach Devereaux, Noah Healy, and Amber Edison. So they're the students that will be looking after that camp for us. And with that being said, we had Raleigh Halley here again this year for a work term. And Raleigh was here before in the past and done some great work around a work term. So when he was back during this work term, actually he put together a great lineup of activities and outings for our Easter camp. So I'd like to say a big thank you to Raleigh. This is his second time being here, and he's done some phenomenal work in his 2 work terms that he has been here in the town. And he was a great asset to Steve, our recreation director. And I'd like to say a big thank you to him and wish him good luck in his future endeavors.
There we go.
And one last point that I got here. We're going to, tonight we're looking for approval for our Director of Recreation and Community Events, Steve, to attend the annual AGM Recreation Conference to be held May 25th to the 27th in Gander. And as the Director holds a position on that board already for the province, the only cost that the town will have there for our director to attend is $250 registration fee. So we're looking to to make the recommendations for the $250 for Steve to attend the Recreation Conference and Convention in Gander. And that's it for us.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, folks. Any questions, comments? I like the Easter Scramble. When is that coming up? The Scramble. Steve has like a gazillion little eggs.
Egg scramble's good, I agree.
And he scrambles excellent. And I tell you, like, it's just amazing to see all the kids there waiting to get out on the field. And when he opens the gate, look out. And the kids are there, they has a fine time, I tell you, collecting all those eggs. Yeah.
I think it's Saturday.
Is that?
I think so. I think it was postponed from last week, and I think it's this Saturday.
Okay, so if you can get a chance to get up and see the kids in action getting the Easter eggs, I tell you, set aside a half hour. Okay, we'll move on to infrastructure and public works. So we have Councillor Windsor and Councillor Sadie King.
Thank you, Mayor. There is one motion tonight for infrastructure and public works, and my co-chair, Councillor King, will deliver that. I'll first give the update. We last met Friday, March 30th, and guys, we all have trouble at times with Zoom, right? But I have to tell you,
That was the best.
this particular meeting set an all-time record, did it not? You know, but despite that, disconnect, reconnect many times, we did accomplish a lot.
Got through.
And we tested all of our patience, right? But we were all well behaved.
You
We got through it.
keep looking at Councillor King. Because she was coming and going, coming and going.
But no, a little bit of levity there. But we did get through, a good agenda. There must be 11 or 12 items that we discussed during the minutes for you to see. But I only want to talk about 5 of them because some of them probably aren't ready to come to the full of council, right? So I'll give you a little update on 5 items that we discussed, and then turn it to Councillor King for the motion. So the first one, probably the most important one, I think, to all of us is around asphalt, right? And we talked about gas tax funding for asphalt upgrades, and we authorised the director to move forward in generating an RFQ to determine the areas for upgrades in a prioritised manner. And then we'll be able to assess and determine the costs and make application for a gas tax and the best use of the gas tax funding. And we talked about, I guess in broader terms, is something we really want to do on an ongoing basis, like every year. We need to be setting aside some funds to keep up the roads. Now, this doesn't address Route 60, again, provincially maintained road, right? But for all the other roads in our jurisdiction, that's something that we're going to move forward with. So there'll be more to come on that. And the second item I think is of utmost importance is the heritage building. You talked about heritage earlier tonight and acknowledging the great volunteer work. The last meeting, and also picked up on the shoreline, some comments by myself and Councillor Bruce King, the condition of the building. So I'm happy to say that our recommendation to obtain a third-party inspection was immediately acted upon by staff. So really appreciate that. The third-party inspection was completed on March 28th, so mid last week. And I'll provide a general comment that it wasn't as bad as what was initially thought. Having said that, the director and nor the committee have had the opportunity to read the full report. So
56 pages.
right, so we had to get through that, and then obtain some construction estimates and bring that back to the council and say, okay, well, what does this mean? What does this cost? Right. So, but happy to report that we've taken the first step in getting the inspection report done, and building is safe. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having people go there. Right. So there's that. That's the heritage building. A couple of other things, simple ones, just little updates that have been talked about before. Wood cutting standard operating procedure. It's still with legal. It's the second meeting now we've said that, and it shouldn't be. That's something that it's lower priority, but we have a few files with them, and I'd ask staff maybe to nudge that along, just so we can get it out the door. I mean, like Councillor King and I talked about, it's a waiver, right? No risk to the town. We're doing our due diligence, I guess, in vetting that with legal, but time to get on with it now. Standing offer for emergency repairs. That was something we talked about before too. One of the bidders, there were some questions around their ability to provide a documentation and self-performance of inspections for equipment that's going on the highway, which is a provincial requirement under the Highway Traffic Act. It's very important, for the safety of the residents and anyone using that equipment. The director went back to the province, back to the bidder, and confirmed that they are in fact a registered field station. They can do that and provided the paperwork, so that's okay. We've satisfied that, and now the director can move forward with issuing that standing offer, and they'll give the town the opportunity to have multiple vendors engaged on a rotating basis. Everyone gets a shot at doing the work, and it will be closely monitoring their performance and the timeliness of their responsiveness. So if you're not available and you don't do a good job, might not get called next time. That's fair ball, right? So there's that we're moving forward with. And the last thing I'll update on was a resident contacted us about safety concern on sight lines exiting their driveway. And there were a couple of those actually, but one in particular I think was very valid, and we agreed on that. And what we said as a recommendation, we're going to seek permission from the province to do some tree cutting in that area, and probably a couple other areas while we're at it. Start with that. And I know the resident was looking for a light. We can't do that just yet. So we're step one, we'll deal with the trees and so on, see if that improves the situation. We'll circle back to it if there's still an issue. We have to be very careful with that because many locations in the town will probably have specific requests for lights, right? So I don't know if there was anything I missed, Sadie, sort of broad update. Okay. All right, any questions, guys, before I turn it to my colleague for a motion?
Yeah, no, I just want to add two items there. Yeah, we had a great discussion, especially on the asphalt, and recognizing all the areas within our town roads that need some improvement, and that's going to be a priority. And it's something that we also discussed that each year we'll do the same thing, sort of as a preventative measure and everything else. So, jokingly, as I called it, the road improvement program. But then, when it comes to Route 60, I'm going to call it the RIPP, not rest in peace, but rest in peace potholes. But I just wanted to add to that about the asphalt and the roads. We all know in the budget that there was a significant amount of money announced by Municipal Affairs to include infrastructure and road repairs and whatnot. I have had a discussion very recently, once again, with our MHA. We will send another letter to the minister as a friendly reminder that Route 60 needs to be addressed and in a timely manner. And our MHA did address it in the House of Assembly last week. So the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I think the minister did admit that, yeah, he's aware of Route 60. He's aware of it. So we'll keep the heat on and until we get it done. But at the same time, like Councillor Windsor said, in the Public Works, we also have a responsibility in addressing the needs within our own town roads as well. So each year, please, we'll be able to allocate so much funding toward road improvements, and that way then you can try to keep ahead of it. And the other thing is regarding the Heritage Building. I was glad to hear it was quite a comprehensive inspection report. I think it was 56 pages long. It did identify several deficiencies, but nothing that we can't handle internally. There are two pots of money there, one that the Heritage Committee already had, and some money that the town already has through government funding. So that's going to go a long ways. Our crew, our Public Works crew, have been there now over the past week or longer, making great strides with the upstairs. And so the point I'm making is that, yeah, we've identified that there are deficiencies with the building, but, you know, all that was negotiated in bringing the price down when we purchased the building. But we are in a position that we will bring that building up to a standard I think that everyone will feel proud of, and it'll be well utilized. And a couple of ideas has come over my bow over the last few days as to how it may be reconfigured once the upstairs is done, which will provide, it could provide service for another group. So that's good news to hear. But we will make sure that, you know, all the renovations and the things that need to be done at the Heritage Building, you know, it's not going to be coming out of the budget. We'll try to secure the necessary funding to get that done. So.
I just want to circle back on one comment there.
Yep.
I want to make sure, though, that everybody understands that we're bringing it back here to all the council before we start looking at alternative plans and spending money, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and what I meant by that, Councillor Windsor, is, you know, we may be able to have groups that might be able to use the downstairs when the upstairs is done. It may be reconfigured a little bit to theme rooms. That's all. No cost involved. All right, just clarify that. All right, any other questions or comments on that? Okay, thank you very much. So we have motions. One motion there, a long motion.
It is a long one. Has to do with the gas tax money. Be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood submit an application to Gas Tax Authority in the amount of $46,939.36 to complete the financial commitment to the PRV upgrade project completed on Northside Road. This cost has been recognized and accepted as a fiscal expenditure in a motion approved by the Council on February the 1st, 2022. The motion labeled 22-02-012 awarded the water main upgrades project to Weir's Construction for an amount of $197,840.25 based on the tender results dated January the 5th, 2022. The Town of Holyrood recognized that due to the market conditions, the cost of this work created a $46,939.36 shortfall in the approved funding. Given the importance of this piece of work in the overall delivery of water service to residents in the area, the Town of Holyrood agreed to absorb the overrun through its fiscal services budget for 2022, which includes the gas tax funding. This work has been through final inspection, and we can proceed with payment using the gas tax option. So moved.
Okay, moved by Councillor King. Could I have a seconder, please? Seconded by Deputy Mayor. Further discussion? And there's no question that this project, I mean, it's fantastic for the residents on Northside Road, because as we all know, we spoke to several residents over there before this PRV, the pressure reducing valve, was installed, that project, and some of the water pressures on their lines was exorbitant and was causing leaks and everything else, which had a lot of residents on Northside concerned, because there was a lot of pressure in that area. So this project, I tell you, it's a great piece of work, and it gives a lot of residents a peace of mind knowing that the pressure now is within the proper range, which will drastically reduce any possibility of leaks on their lines, because some of those lines from their home out to the main line are, pretty old and can be compromised. So this is certainly a great project. So it's unfortunate that it's cost overrun on it, but sometimes these things, you run into these unexpected things, and but it's done now, and it's good. Any other questions, comments? Okay, if not, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hands. Those against the motion is carried. All right, that's it for infrastructure and public works. Thank you very much, folks. And now we'll move on to business development and marketing. Deputy Mayor, you're up.
Good evening again, everyone. The Business Development and Marketing Committee, we met on March the 7th. But prior to that meeting, the CAO, the Mayor, and I completed a tour of the Arthur W. May building upon invitation from the Marine Institute. This state-of-the-art facility is quite impressive, I have to say. From the ground floor industrial areas, the large bays, the equipment that's down below, and then the mid-level section is like an educational learning and interpretation of real-time data area that they can use, to the upper two floors, which are office-based and flex spaces for those people working there, and public spaces as well. It's an absolutely outstanding building. The architecture and design incorporates waves and the color of the ocean, and the views, the windows. You get wherever you're in the building, you're having a view of some part of Holyrood. You're either looking out over the bay, you're looking up at George Cove Mountain, or you're looking up at Murray's Peak. So it's beautiful building. After the tour, we came back here and we met with Marine Institute execs as well regarding a new memorandum of understanding that we're trying to develop, and a plan to work collaboratively with them, because we're all stakeholders in the ocean sector, and we need to be working with each other to see what each other are doing and to be able to keep on top of that. And from the business side, with business development and marketing, we want to make sure that any of the gaps, we're trying to identify gaps in services within the town, so that when the individuals and businesses come to use that facility, they're able to stay here in Holyrood. They don't have to go back and forth to St. John's. They might, let's have a place to stay, let's have places for them to eat, for whatever they want to do. We want to make sure that they're doing it here in Holyrood to see the benefits of it. So that's what, from business development marketing side, that's what we want to do. Identify those gaps, then work within the business community to say, okay, how can we fill those gaps? From that meeting, we rolled into our regular business development marketing meeting, and we discussed several files, including funding, which we received from the Canadian Parks and Recreational Association Youth Employment Experience, and that will allow us to hire a park programmer for Holy Cross Park. So Marjorie will be working in conjunction with Steve and in recreation to be able to fill that position. That's at no cost to the town. So we'll be developing a plan on how to move or program what's going on at Holy Cross Park. We also received several inquiries from quarry owners within the town, wondering, what or how the town is moving forward with the town plan in respect to quarries. And as I mentioned earlier, that's on our agenda for tomorrow night. So we will identify, our plan is to identify areas within the town for quarry use, and they asked for a meeting. So our plan is, when we get that done, we will reach back out to them and see if they want to come in and discuss, you know, any concerns that they have with regards to quarry use. And finally, the committee also discussed the Small Town Advisory Committee, our participation and our representation on that. That's an external committee. And we can read a little bit, or I can read out the motion later on, or the mayor will. But we have a motion prepared later on for council under new business to represent that we are going to have a representative on that committee, and move forward with offering any of our advice or whatever that we need to offer in order to bring all the issues forward to municipal NLA. And that's it, I think. Yeah, that's it for business development marketing.
Okay, thank you very much, and certainly want to thank Councillor Bruce King for offering yourself to serve on that committee. And of course, you know, in dealing with all the small towns, there's a lot of issues that we all have in common. And, you know, we'll have items certainly to present, for you to present on our behalf at that meeting, and collectively, and being all on the same page. That's how it is. That's how the message gets back to the various departments within government, along with working with MNL, Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador. So thanks again for offering your services to serve on that committee, Councillor King. Okay, any other questions, comments? All right, if not, we'll move on to public safety. Councillor King and Councillor Buckle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did not have a public safety meeting since our last public meeting because of conflicting schedules, but I do have a few points to bring up, and then I will turn it over to Councillor Buckle to close the loop. And the first one I want to talk about is probably we haven't heard in this chamber before, and that's coyotes. There's been a couple of incidents up on Woodford Station where there's coyotes on the prowl. It is the mating season for coyotes this time of the year. But not only that, is people need to be aware of the fact that if you have small dogs, if you have a cat, if you have poultry or livestock or whatever, these creatures are opportunistic, and they will take Fluffy and they will take whatever your dog is, and they'll vanish. So I know there's been people talking about it already. They travel in packs most of the time, and they will take people's pets. So just a word to the wise, be on the lookout, put your dog on a leash when you take him out at night, and make sure he comes back in. So just as a warning to people with regards to coyotes. The next one is with regards to, and I know the mayor mentioned it before, with regards to the provincial budget. There was $3.8 million in the provincial budget with regards to firefighting vehicles and also equipment. We've resubmitted our application again for a rescue vehicle, and I think this is the time now. We have another year to really enforce the point of why Holyrood needs a new rescue vehicle, and we need to enforce it to the point, and I know we've discussed this on many occasions in the past year. It's the fact that the rescue vehicle doesn't serve just the people of Holyrood. Anybody that travels on the Trans-Canada Highway between St. John's and the rest of the province, or anybody that goes down the Witless Bay line, there's a very good chance if something happens to you, the first people on the scene is going to be the Holyrood Fire Department. Okay, we're almost in the spring. We only got another 6 or 7 or 8 weeks to go before spring finally gets here. But then the next thing you'll hear on the news is moose vehicle collisions. And we know if anybody between Salmon Airline and Butterpot Park is a prime area, you talk to the RCMP, that is one of the prime areas with regards to moose vehicle collisions. So we need the vehicle, and and I know there was an article on the VOCM there a couple of days ago with regards to the fire truck for Corner Brook, and there's a waiting list right now up to 2 years to get to get any type of a rescue vehicle. So even if somebody said today, yes, Holyrood is going to get their rescue vehicle, you're looking at anywhere from 18 months to 2 years before you actually physically see that vehicle down in the fire hall. So, but I think this time we need to really reinforce why we need a rescue vehicle. I like the mayor was saying, we need to get the MHA on board, and we need to get everybody else on board as well to reinforce the fact that this vehicle would be a valuable asset to the town of Holyrood, and it also will be a valuable asset to anybody that travels the highways. And the last one, move right into what Councillor Windsor had said and also what the mayor had said. You must be reading my notes. For this year, for road safety, there's $225 million in the budget this year for road safety. And I think probably with Route 60 through Holyrood, we could probably eat up the $225 million. Okay, you know, I know they have Mars Bridge on the schedule to be repaired this year or fixed, but in order to get to Mars Bridge, you have to travel over an ATV trail, right? And it's like the old war movie there. Mars Bridge will become a bridge too far, right? So, but and the other thing is with regards to the potholes, and I mean, I took the liberty last week to phone a garage here in Holyrood and just ask the question, you know, give me a rough idea of how much business do you see with relations to tires, rims, and other things with regards to, on average, he sees at least one a day, one vehicle per day, sometimes two, sometimes more than that. And he took a stab at it. It's between probably $15,000 to $20,000 worth of tire and vehicle damage. And this is just because of potholes, nothing else. This doesn't include the tow truck that got to come and haul your vehicle to the garage. It doesn't include other garages that are in the area as well. So this is just one garage that deals with about $15,000 to $20,000 worth of preventable damage to your vehicle. And you know, and I know we had an incident last year where we tried to fix some of the holes because people were beating up their cars, and we were told we shouldn't be doing it, and that's fine. But you know, maybe it's time to have some kind of an agreement between Transportation and Works and the municipalities, and some funding to go along with it. For example, use Holyrood as a pilot project. You know, if there's potholes in Holyrood, it's a lot faster for our public works people to get there to fix it, because some of these potholes, I know some of the ones down towards where I live, it could be 2 weeks or longer before those potholes are filled in. So especially at night where people are not familiar where they are, that's when they are the most deadly. So maybe it's time for some kind of an agreement with the Infrastructure and Public Works and allow the municipalities, not just Holyrood, but others as well, you know, if there's a pothole in your area, let somebody be able to go out and fix it, and then when Transportation and Works gets time to actually go and do a better job, then they can go and tee it all up. So anyway, that's something we can look at, and I mean so if you look at all the municipalities in Newfoundland, because all of them got the same problems we do when it comes to potholes, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of preventable, that's the big word, preventable damage to people's vehicles. Anyway, at this time I'll just turn it over to Councillor Buckle, and he can fill in the gaps. Thank you.
Did you see the, thank you, sir. Did you see the picture on Facebook the other day? How to solve pothole problem? And the guy was there planting a big tree.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're good? Okay. Any questions or comments? All right. If not, we will move on now to communications and Deputy Mayor.
Councillor Crawley, I don't know if you announced that in the beginning, that Councillor Crawley was
Oh,
not
I
able to
apologise for that.
attend this evening, so I will give a little update on behalf of the Communications Committee. We met on March the 9th. There was an update with regards to the website, and since then the website went live, I believe, March 13th. I know that there are some issues right now with the live feed, and we're aware of that, and we're working on that. And I would just put it out there to councillors and residents. You know, as we're working through the new website, there may be instances where something technical might be happening, and I would say, let us know. Send in an email to us, or put a post on one of our Facebook site to say that we're having technical issues with looking at this or some item that they may have issues with, because where it's new, it's going to be a learning piece for everybody, and technical issues will arise, and if we know about them, we'll look into getting that fixed. We also reviewed the communications policy, and that is ready to go, and will be motioned tonight to adopt. Other than that, there's other policies that we're reviewing, and the next big piece for us in communication will be the external communication. Right now, this policy encompasses internal communication, and our next step will be external communication. And we're hoping to be able to have that piece, realistically by the end of the year, for sure, to be able to put that to motion as well. So unless, Sadie, is there anything else that no? Okay. So the motion tonight from the Communications Committee is the communications plan. Be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood approve and adopt the communications plan as presented. The policy identifies the appropriate protocol required when engaging with the various levels of internal communication within the Town of Holyrood. So moved.
Okay, moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor King. Further discussion?
Well, to be honest, this policy has been reviewed and reviewed and reviewed, and all council have had it, and staff have had it to review it, and council, within the committee, staff are involved within the committee as well. So it's a good piece, and I think that it's going to help what our communication with each other and any future councils that come in as well.
I got to say, I mean, this is a big piece of work, this communication plan, because you're looking at various aspects. Like tonight now, we're ready to move on the internal communication. Then it's external, and there's a whole barrage of different types of communication that need to be developed. But in doing that, you're taking, you're doing your, you're putting a lot of thought, a lot of effort into it, and everybody's having their say into it. So once it's all completed, it's a good guiding document for
Absolutely.
the next, several years by several councils.
And it's difficult because you have to, it's a lot of intricate pieces with communication. It's such a broad,
Right. Yeah.
field to be able to look at. So that's why we're taking it piece by piece and presenting it that way.
Exactly.
In order to get it completed.
Yeah. So I just want to say congratulations to the Communications Committee for, all the time you're putting into this, and great job. Keep it up. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, not to beat dead horse, but I just wanted to acknowledge the hard work of the committee. I mean, it is a special project, and it was an exceptional document, and a lengthy process, and so much work went into it. So, very well done. I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments? If not, all those in favor, please raise your hands. Those against, motion is carried.
And that's it from communications.
Thank you very much. Operational review, Councillor Windsor.
Almost forgot that one. Right. Quick update from the committee, which is composed of myself, Councillor King, Councillor Buckle, and yourself, Mr. Mayor. The consultant, Mr. Kern, has completed to the desktop work, paper review of documentation and procedures and so on and so forth. and has initiated a series of interviews. Next milestone, I think that's important. You'll see in the shoreline this weekend an advertisement for people to contribute and have their say in what our plan should look like. So watch for that. Get involved. I think that's really important, right? Yes, that's where we are right now. And committee, we've been struggling to coordinate at a good time that works for all of us and the consultant, but that was okay because he had work to do, and rather have a more meaningful meeting with him next week, right? And if there's anything I'm missing there to my co-committee members.
Well, just in regard to the consultation, the public consultation, and that'll all be forthcoming. There will be one in person at, I'm not sure of the location as of yet, the Legion. You're right, the Legion. And the other one is an online survey, as well as reaching out to Mr. Curran himself via email. So there's 3 forms that residents can express their ideas, concerns, whatever. So that's where he's to with that. And like you said, the interviews have taken place now with the various staff. The fire department will be done in the next couple of days, I think, with the fire chief. It was completed, is it? That was done today. Yeah. Okay, so he's moving along and doing this piece of work step by step, and we're not getting in the way. We're letting him do his thing. So that's it. Okay, thank you very much, sir. And now we'll move on to corporate services and administration. And I apologize, folks, earlier for not publicly acknowledging the absence of Councillor Crowley. She did have an issue, that personal issue that she couldn't attend, and passes on her regrets. So in her absence tonight, her committee co-chair, Councillor King, has a lot of reading to do and a lot of motions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our last corporate services meeting was via email, and the main focus of the emails was 2 of the motions that I'll be presenting here tonight, just putting the final touches on them to make sure everything is good to go. So anyway, there is 2 motions, and I can carry on with the motions. And, the first one is rules and procedures. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve and adopt the council rules and procedures as presented and discussed at the meeting of the whole on March 28, 2023. These rules and procedures will provide the required structures to ensure council is conducting its business in an effective and efficient manner. So moved.
Okay, moved by Councillor Bruce King. Could I have a seconder, please? Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Further discussion? I won't speak. I'll just have a few brief comments to make after all these motions have been done. Okay, if not, all those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
The next motion is the multi-courts infrastructure. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve 2 successful bids for the multi-court infrastructure as identified through a request for bids as per the procurement policy in the total amount of $52,147.47. The successful bid for fencing is awarded to Apex in the amount of $25,530, and the basketball nets and benches to Total Sports Solutions for the amount of $26,617.47. These bid amounts reflect the lowest bid submitted for individual infrastructure requirements. So moved.
Moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Sadie King. Further discussion? Okay, if not, all those in favor? Those against? Motion is carried.
The next one is the procurement policy. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve and adopt the Town of Holyrood procurement policy as presented to Council at the Committee of the Whole meeting on March 28, 2023, which identifies structures and guidelines for the purchase of goods and services by the Town of Holyrood. This policy provides the necessary safeguards and due diligence for the use of public funds. So moved.
Moved by Councillor King, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Further discussion? Seeing that's the last motion, I just want to, on behalf of Council as well, express our thanks to the Corporate Services Committee for the great work that they've been doing on these pieces of work. Because I do know that there's been a lot of meetings, and again, it's similar to the communications. It's been done piece by piece by piece, and when you have a policy that clearly identifies, and this is for the benefit of councillors, is for the benefit of staff, is for everybody's benefit, a clear set of rules and procedures, and basically the do's and don'ts, and how we should do things and how we shouldn't. And I think that pretty well generally wraps up. So we're closing the gap and defining the things on paper. And same thing with the procurement policy. You know, I mean, there's a lot of new regulations with the provincial government, and we're obviously required to abide by that as well. And we've sort of intertwined the provincial things that's going on within the provincial procurement policy with their own in-house. So I think it's a great piece of work. It's fair. It's a fair process for everybody to follow, and it clearly defines how the process should be followed. So, great work to the Corporate Services Committee for you know, all the time and effort that they put into putting these policies together. Any other questions or comments? Okay, if not, all those in favor, those against, motion is carried. Now you can pay some bills.
And the last one, accounts. Be it resolved, those accounts tabled in the amount of $192,402.56 for checks number 44352 to 44451 and number D3148 and D3203 be approved for payment from general accounts. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Bruce King, seconded by Councillor Windsor. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor, Councillor Munn, motion is carried. Normally at this stage, when we go into new business, I'll do the go around, but because there's a motion there, we'll do the motion and then we'll do the go around.
Okay, I just got one
Good.
last point.
Oh, one more?
Point, yep, gotta know that bank balance.
Oh, the bank book balance. Sorry about that. I jumped the gun.
The bank book balance, for all those that are interested, is $3,479.86.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, so now we'll move into, we're in the new business, and we'll do the motion first. And that's, now as mayor, I'm not permitted to do motions, so I will probably get the deputy mayor to read out the motion.
And this is, you know, we were discussing this earlier with the Small Town Advisory Committee. So this motion is for the Municipalities NL Small Towns Advisory Committee. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve Councillor Bruce King as a representative on the Municipalities NL Small Towns Advisory Committee. This is an external committee established by Municipalities NL, which represents those municipalities with a population of less than 3,000. The mandate of the committee is to provide a venue for the discussion of and to advise the Small Towns Director on issues of common concern to rural communities. It provides a mechanism for the Small Towns Director to review M&L policies and advocacy priorities with representatives of Small Town Caucus to ensure they are inclusive of small towns' perspective. So moved.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor Buckle. Further discussion?
I think it's an excellent recommendation, and I think Councillor King is the right person for that. I mean, you're
Both ways.
yeah. No, I mean, really though, you're a champion for Holyrood, and open to new ideas and outside the box thinking, and I think that's what that sort of committee needs. And I think it's a really good choice, and you're a really good person for that to move things forward. Yeah, I think it's great.
Totally concur, and I can tell you, I know he won't be shy at the meetings, and he'll certainly get his points across on our behalf. Hey, Councillor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Windsor.
Any other questions or comments on that motion? If not, all those in favour, those against, motion is carried. Now, Madam Deputy, you can stay on your feet because it's the go-around. For the go-around, you can stay. You
I can sit down.
Yeah.
There's nothing really from me other than to reiterate our thanks to all the volunteers within the town of Holyrood for their support and time that they dedicate to all the events that we have throughout the year. And just to wish all residents a happy Easter. Enjoy your time with your family and stay safe. That's it for me.
Thank you very much. Councillor King.
I got to stand up, I got arthritis. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to reiterate what you had said, well, not only with volunteers in general, because they are the backbone of any kind of a community to get anything done, but in particular, the volunteers at the museum. I mean, the four that are down there, Linda, her husband Stuart, Karen, and Jeanette, they put in an exorbitant amount of time down there doing stuff and making sure that everything is done. They get people in there from all over. They do have plans in their head that they want to be able to put into that building once. And I mean, all the stuff that was talked about tonight with regards to the building is all positive, and that's exactly what we want. That's what they wanted to hear. They wanted to hear that this is something can be successfully done and stay hopefully within the budget that when it's all said and done. But I do want to reiterate what the mayor said. The four of them down there in particular, they do a fantastic job, and they put their heart and soul and everything into that building and into the artifacts for the town of Holyrood. Thank you.
Here, here. Thank you, sir. Councillor Buckle.
Yeah, just what my colleagues is after saying. Volunteers are very important in our town. As Councillor Bruce King just said, with our heritage, they're doing some great work. And, myself and Councillor King on the recreation, our volunteers, and every time we got an event in recreation, special event in our town or functions in our town, we do have a lot of the same volunteers that are there. They're up front, they're always there, and councillors herself can see it when they go there. It's usually the same volunteers are always there to support. So, I'd like to say a big thank you to them, especially from the recreation side. And there's lots of other volunteers in our communities. And another one I'd like to speak on to, is like at the school breakfast program down there, The parents over there that's helping out in the morning time, to get meals to breakfast to some of the kids there and stuff. It's a great program, and, it takes a lot of time and effort. But that's one of the programs that I see a big program in our town, the breakfast program here in our school. And the last thing is I'd like to wish everyone a happy Easter too, and spend time with your family. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Councillor King.
Thank yous. We can't say enough thank yous to the volunteers, because without the volunteers, we'd be sadly lacking in a lot of things here in Holyrood. And I also want to extend a big thank you to our Director of Business and Economic Development, Marjorie. She generated an application on behalf of the seniors to New Horizons last fall, and they were fortunate in getting a $10,000 grant since Christmas.
Wow.
In fact, just 2 weeks ago. And that money is to be used for programming, bus trips, to help out the seniors that are in their homes, lonely, sick, whatever. So it'll be put to good use within the next year. We got a year to spend it. So I'd really like to thank Marjorie on behalf of the Marina Golden Age Club for that. And wish everybody a happy Easter as well. Enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor King. Councillor Windsor.
Sir, hungry for a chocolate bunny now. Just a moment to reflect, I think, on some of the special projects here tonight. I mean, to acknowledge the hard work that goes into it. I mean, it's pretty exceptional, and I think the residents need to understand the amount of work that goes into these things, in addition to the regular committee work that everyone's doing. The communications policy, the operations and strategic plan review, the operating procedure and guidelines, the procurement policy, and the 10-year plan for the town. Right? Those are 5 major special projects that this council has undertaken in a period of time. It's a lot of work, right? And just well done to everybody. And just take a moment and reflect on that and be proud of what you're doing. That's it.
Well said, sir. Well said. And I'm just going to finish off by reminding everybody, as I spoke about earlier, regarding the Easter egg scramble. I invited the councillors to come up, but I just want to let you all know that you're not allowed out on the field taking the children's Easter eggs. And on that note, I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor King. All those in favour? Those against? Meeting stands adjourned.
What time is the Easter egg hunt?